Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hi, Anna. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Mr. Raul. How was your trip, buddy?
It was good. I'm a little tired, but here I am, my friend, just as I promised.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, Dan, good morning. Claudia, good morning. Eric Brown, good morning. Leonard, good morning. Brian, good morning. Adrian, welcome. Good morning. Andy, good morning. Love that hat, man. Don, good morning. All right, and then we got Quentin Carter. Good morning. All right, so we're just getting more people on board. Okay, Susan, good morning. Susan, where's your background?
Hold on, good morning. Maybe my computer was just not doing it today. Oh, there you go. Here it is.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
that's the way I like it. All right, beautiful. Okay, okay, well, let's start, guys. We have a lot to talk about, and I have a lot to show you. Let me just quickly share my screen. All right, everybody can see this?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm just gonna use the present mode. And we are off to the races. All right, guys. So today's topic is going to be everything about the open houses. More importantly, how you can build a thriving, a successful open house business in your real estate. When I started in real estate, the first 3 years, more like close to 4 years, about half of my business was open houses or directly from my open houses. So I love open houses. I preach every day to our agents in our brokerage to hold open houses. I know things are a little bit different with the COVID situation, but still, there are agents out there, our agents that are holding open houses 2 to 3 times a week, obviously taking all the necessary steps and precautions, but we're still generating quite a bit of business from open houses. So let's dive into it. All right, but before we start, I know there are a few agents here that are not in our brokerage, and if you kind of don't mind quickly sharing about yourself, how many years you've been in business, and the second question is, where do you see the greatest opportunity or maybe a challenge that you're experiencing right now in your business and the opportunity that you may not be taking an advantage of? So I know we have several agents here that are outside of our brokerage. So let's start with Dan.
Hey, good morning, Alan. How are you?
Good to see you, man. Well,
Yes, definitely.
you, but I can hear you, man.
Awesome. Hey, I've been in the business now, just hit my 2-year mark. The biggest growth for me, I think, honestly, is learning and getting better at open houses, but really diving into the phones as well, starting some of these for sale by owners and really getting in that business. So that's where I see my biggest opportunity that I'm not taking advantage of.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, for sale by owners is actually one of my favorite topics to discuss, and one of my businesses, that we have. We have several agents in our company that are killing it for sale by owners, even right now with a lack of inventory out there. Yeah, I mean, open houses, definitely something that we're going to talk about. And if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. All right. Feel free to ask. Okay, great. And then we got, is it Leonard? Leonard, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I've been in business since 1995, be 25 years, on and off, part-time, full-time.
God bless.
On and off, part-time, full-time. And then my big challenge really is how to effectively and efficiently use open houses and how to do it safely. And I'm kind of afraid to do it because of the coronavirus, but I don't know how to do it safely. So that's all my challenges.
Got you. So how to do your open houses safely? Okay.
Yeah, that's what my question is. Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. We're going to cover that as well. And-
Ellen?
Yeah.
Do you have anyone that's waiting to be let into this meeting? Tracy and Kurt are waiting.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I got like a bunch of people that are waiting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. All right. We got Veronica. I should have gave you the host rights so you can start admitting people.
Next time.
Next time. I know. Next time. All right. Okay, great. Anyone else that we have here that is outside of our brokerage? Okay. Okay, we got Hector, we got Matt, good morning. Don, good morning. Don, how long have you been in business, and what's your greatest opportunity that you're not taking advantage of right now?
Morning, Alan. I've been in the business about 12 years. What I'd like to be able to do is convert more open house leads into buyers. Like doing open houses, just not converting a lot once I get them.
All right, so converting more at the higher level, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Thanks so much, Don. I appreciate it. We'll cover that as well. We have some slides to cover that. All right. Anyone else before we start? All right. We got April. We got Hector. We got Matt. All right. So, all right, guys. Let's start. Okay, so here's the agenda for today. We're going to talk about 9 key steps in building a thriving open house business. Number 1, how to pick the right open house. Number 2, neighborhood exclusive open houses, traditional open houses. I'll share with you the differences, the benefits of holding neighborhood exclusive open houses. For me, professionally, it was really a game changer about 3.5, 4 years ago when I started implementing neighborhood exclusive open houses in my farm in Northwest Valley. We probably picked up anywhere between 10 to 15 seller leads at each open house. Detail. Number 3, what do we do in terms of preparation? We got to be definitely prepared when we hold open houses, whether it's a neighborhood exclusive open house or just a traditional open house. You want to be prepared for it. Okay, that's important. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we have all of our advertising and all of our marketing collateral in place. We want to make sure that when you have potential buyers and the sellers that stopping by at your open house, you have something tangible to share with them when you're having a conversation, when you're building that rapport. Number 6, we're going to dive into scripts, dialogues, as well as the objection handlers on how to actually convert these leads more at a higher level. Number 7, I'm going to teach you and show you how you can get up to 90% signups when it comes to your open house visitors. I mean, that's huge. That's another game changer for you. Number 8, converting those visitors at a higher level, the follow-up sequence that we have in place. Okay, and number 9 is just follow through and follow-up sequence systems that we already have. I'll share them with you as well. Okay, before I start, guys, what I would like to do is kind of share a quick story about me, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I got into the business in 2013, about 7.5 years ago. The first couple of months, and I'm sure a lot of you can attest to it, were very, very difficult for me. In fact, the first 4 or 5 months were hard. I remember hitting a wall about 2 months into my career. Nothing was really happening. I was spending a lot of time, a lot of energy on prospecting, on talking to the individuals, potential sellers, buyers, and unfortunately, nothing was really happening. And at the same time, personally, I was really dealing with some adversity health-wise. My health, my dad's health. He had colon cancer, so I had to deal with that situation. And then financially, 3 kids under age of 5. Daycare bill alone was $2,100 a month. The mortgage was another $2,000, and then 2 car payments were around $1,000. So without any additional expenses like food and clothes and other things, I mean, our monthly expense bill was about $5,000. So it was tough. It was difficult. But every day I try to make the best out of it. One of the things that really kind of helped me, especially in the early stages, was surrounding myself with mentors and individuals that really kind of guided me and mentored me and coached me through a lot of hard days and a lot of hard weeks. So by the end of the year, I was able to sell 16 homes. It was great, but honestly, I was not really happy about it. I felt like I left a lot of business on the table, that particular year. So my plan in the second year of business, 2014, was, all right, I got to double my production, which I was able to do. Next year in 2014, was focusing more on hiring coaches, establishing my foundation, added more lead sources. And then, at the end of 2014, I remember selling 35 homes, no assistant, no transaction coordinator. And I was like, man, I need help. Like I'm getting bombarded with the paperwork. I just do not have extra time for anything else. So hired my first transaction coordinator. She was a part-time TC. She wanted to apparently work only 5 hours. Her definition of part-time was 5 hours a week, and that didn't really work for me. Hired my second TC, and it just didn't really work out because in this business, you have challenges. You have clients that are not happy. You may have agents that are not happy. Lenders or mortgage companies are not closing on time. So every time there was a challenge, every time there was an issue, she would get emotional about it. So for me, that was just not something that I was looking for at that time. Hired my third TC at the end of 2014, and that really helped me to kind of grow my business. In my next year, which was 2015, when I sold 75 homes, did a little bit over $20 million in business as a solo agent. So what happened next at the end of 2015 was, I was working 80 hours a week, and didn't really have a balanced life, if you will. Again, 3 kids, a wife who was not really happy. The fact that I was working hours and hours, many hours a day. So I started reaching out to some agents in my brokerage to see if they would be interested in working some of my leads, working some of my buyers. And that's how I started forming a team. In 2016 through 19, I started forming a team, building a team. The first couple of years were very challenging. I remember my first year as a team leader in 2016, I hired 5 agents, and at the end of the year, I was only left with 1. Those 5 agents produced 11 transactions that year, which was not a lot. Just were not the right hires. So I also did not have, the best practices in place, did not have the systems in place. My lead generating at that time was spotty, inconsistent, and my training and my mentorship was really inconsistent as well, because I was focusing a lot of my time on still going out there and producing deals, producing sales. In 2017, I hired 10 agents. By the end of the year, I only had left 3, but we made some strides, and we We made some progress. And then in 2018 and 2019, things started really happening. Last year, we had 10 agents in our group. We did 168 units, $48 million in sales, $1.3 million in GCI, one operations manager, and one transaction coordinator. And then at the beginning of this year, guys, I launched my own brokerage, Best Homes Real Estate. Year to date, we're at around 40 agents or so. The plan for us to get to about 100 by the end of the year. And we're definitely growing and offering a lot of value propositions and bringing a lot of value to the agents. So some agents are asking me, why am I doing this? I really, honestly speaking, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I really enjoy giving back, if you will. And I know it can be a little cliche, but I enjoy bringing value to the agent's business growth. I believe I have a unique perspective because, I haven't been doing this for a long time. 7 years ago as a brand new agent, right? But I think I can add a lot of value to either an up and coming agent that's just really trying to get their business off the ground. I can definitely share best practices with the top producing agent and also a team leader that really wants to build an empire and build a really successful business. I also believe that there's an opportunity there, or a void, if you will, depends how you look at it, glass half full or half empty. When it comes in our business, a lot of you probably know this, 90 hours of schooling is really not that much. Most of the schools do not teach you anything about this business. And then when you join a brokerage, there are going to be some brokerages out there, maybe most of the brokerages out there that really are not there to teach you business, right? So I think what we offer when it comes to our team and also more importantly when it comes to our brokerage is more of a mentorship and hands-on approach when it comes to best practices, when it comes to information and training that you can actually apply in your business. Because I'm still in the business, I'm still in the trenches, I'm still doing the things that 99% of other agents are doing right now. So my mission is to really facilitate a positive and supportive environment and help agents when it comes to seeing the opportunities in front of them. When they start seeing the opportunities in front of them, they're gonna start believing them, and they're gonna start taking action. They're gonna start seeing progress. They're gonna get more confidence. And once you start doing all of those things, you're gonna get the results. And for us, what we wanna do is we wanna create that environment where agents feel like they belong, they're part of a community, they're part of the company organization that believes in them, that empowers them, offers them a skills-based education, support, recognition, as well as accountability. Okay, so that's that. I also, on a personal level, why am I doing this is because of my family, is because of my beautiful wife, Alexandra. We've been married for a little bit over 20 years now. We have 3 beautiful kids, Nathaniela right here, Zachary, and Abigail. This picture was taken about 3 weeks ago in Prescott, in and out. So they were having a blast. We also have 2 adopted kids, in addition to 3 of our own, Benji and Teddy. So Benji is our golden doodle, and he's a terror. I mean, he is so active. He definitely keeps us in check. And he's 7 months old. And then Teddy, he's a Frenchie, and he's a little bit over 2 years old right now. But awesome dogs, way different. This guy is super hyper, constantly needs attention. And this guy right here, he is just so mellow. All he needs is just food. He sleeps most of the time, snores, farts, and that's pretty much it. That's what he does. So that's Teddy. Okay. So we're blessed to have a great family and awesome pets. So why should we do more open houses? I want to open this up to you guys from your experience. Some of you have been in business for quite some time, and some of you for a few years, or maybe a couple of months. Why do you think we should be doing more open houses? You can
To help the sellers sell their house quicker in some cases.
okay, all right, I agree with you. Okay,
Make contact with buyers who are actively looking.
yes, sir.
I got one.
Yep.
It can, it also potential to find sellers.
Correct. Yeah,
Sellers.
we're looking to sell and buy, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You guys, you nailed it, right? Obviously, first and foremost, we have a fiduciary to our client, especially if it's our listing. We want to sell the house, right? But also, in addition to it, we want to make sure we have a marketing platform. Buyers.
I can hear you.
What I like about open houses is, what I love about open houses is the fact that it's probably one of the least expensive ways of generating business. Not only business, but also getting in front of potential buyers and sellers face to face. Okay, that's very important. A lot of times when we're getting in front of buyers and sellers, we're talking about over the phone, via email, via text. Okay, this is one of the ways where you can get in front of buyers and sellers in person. Okay, it's another way of finding not only now business, but also a future business. The way the market is right now is, you know, there's a lack of inventory, not enough homes on the market. You have buyers that are more and more and more motivated to find their next home. So they're definitely going to be more enthused to go out there and attend open houses. That's an opportunity for you guys when it comes to the now business. You're also going to have future business when you have sellers who most likely are going to be neighbors. They're going to be going and checking out new listings, right? Comparing the listing to their house, and also intentionally or unintentionally interviewing agents, sizing up agents when they're ready to list. So it's a great opportunity not only to find a now business, but also focus and work on the future business. Get more seller leads and more listings. I'm going to show you how I generate anywhere between 10 to 15 seller leads from one open house. And that's definitely doable. You can still do that when it comes to the current market conditions. If you guys are farming a specific neighborhood, right, open houses, hands down, will improve and enhance your geofarming. That's important. I get phone calls from my farm where they're constantly telling me that, hey, you know, I see your signs everywhere. I see your open house signs everywhere. You guys are the hardest working agents that we know in the neighborhood because you're constantly holding open houses, even if it's 110, 115 degrees outside. Okay. And then also with open houses, what I love about them, it allows you to expand and grow your personal and your business brand. Again, if you're thinking of geofarming, which I suggest most of you seriously consider doing that, you know, having open houses and making sure that, you know, you're getting in front of those potential sellers and buyers. Nothing like getting face-to-face interaction with the neighbor or the neighbors, you know, that are thinking about selling their house in the next 6 to 12 months or maybe 2 years from now. And like I told you in the beginning of the slide, little or no expense when it comes to the open houses. You can do some marketing. Some of that marketing can be contributed by the title company, by the mortgage company, by your team, by your brokerage, right? But literally, we're talking about, you know, pennies on a dollar when it comes to spending money on the open houses. All right, any questions about the slide, guys? Okay, let me share a quick story about my open house that I held That was back in one of my actually first open houses. That was my first open house back in 2013. So the cool story about, I had a listing on 83rd Avenue in Camelback. It was a $100,000 house. It was an expired listing. We got it under contract pretty quickly. And the buyer's agent for that listing arrived during the inspection in a really fancy car. I think it was like a Mercedes-Benz. And it was very impressive. And we started having conversation, me being a brand new agent. He's been in business for quite some time. And me being like inquisitive, I asked him, I was like, hey, how do you generate your business? And he told me, Alan, 90% of my business this year is going to come from open houses. And I said, wow, okay. And how many homes are you going to sell? He's like, I'm going to sell about 45 or 46 homes. 90% of his business coming from open houses. Like, okay, tell me more. He's like, well, Alan, I didn't do anything different. I just hold them. Like every week, I basically treat open house as my office, and I hold 3 to 4, sometimes 5 open houses a week. That's what I do. Okay, that was his secret. That was his magic or silver bullet, if you will. He was holding open houses every single week. So the next day, I reached out to a couple of agents in my brokerage. None of them had an open house available. So I reached out to an agent that had a listing across the street from my house. At that time, I was living up in Anthem Country Club. And I spoke to the agent, and he was very gracious, very nice. And, he knew his listing was on the market for almost 90 days. And, he definitely wanted to move it. And he said, look, Alan, go for it, do an open house. It's a vacant home. Just kind of let me know how it goes. Hopefully get it on a contract. I said, sure, not a problem. But I have another favor to ask you. And he's like, what? It's like, well, I don't have any open house signs. Can I borrow your open house signs? And he's like, okay, that's fine. I got 5 open house signs. You can borrow them, but make sure you return them. I said, sure, not a problem. So that weekend, I held 3 open houses, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on Sunday, I get to meet Doug and Sarah Dowd. This is a couple that lived in Arrowhead Ranch, and they were looking to downsize. And they were looking for 1-story houses up in Anthem. They didn't like the house. They felt like it needed a lot of work, a lot of updating. But during that visit, I was able to make a connection with them, build a rapport with them. And in fact, what I also did, what that agent taught me to do is make sure when you're holding open houses, you print out a list of all other active listings in MLS for that neighborhood and highlight the ones that are vacant. And then if, let's say, they don't like your listing, you can go and show them another house or 2 in the same subdivision in the same neighborhood, which I was able to do. They didn't like those 2 houses, but what I was able to achieve is build a connection with them where I was able to find out that they had a house that they're thinking of selling in Arrowhead Ranch. They're looking to downsize, and they also have a rental that they're thinking of selling as well. So the next day I was able to secure a listing appointment. I went to that listing appointment. I got that listing. We listed it for $375,000, and we got it on the contract in 1 day. And let me show you what came out of that 1 open house, 1 client, how many deals I was able to close in the past 6.5, 7 years. So 1 open house that was not my listing, were not my signs, okay, generated a sale of $375,000. That was a 1 day under contract. Then the buyer of this house right here, Brian, funny story, when we closed on that house, his agent contacted me and said, hey, I live in East Valley and I got a full-time job. I'm not going to be there for a day or 2. Is there any way you can hand the keys to my client? I said, sure, not a problem. I'll do it. So I give the keys to Brian and his wife, Miriam. And Brian's like, hey, you know what? I see a lot of your signs out there. We live like 2 blocks down the street, and I see you're doing quite a bit of business here. Can you take a look at our house? We're thinking of selling our home. I said, what about your agent? And he's like, well, you know, we're friends, but he's a part-time agent. He lives in the East Valley. He doesn't know our neighborhood. So sure, not a problem. So the next day I go and check out his house, and I listed his house for $310,000. And then 4 years later, he called me again, and we sold the same house that he purchased right here for $415,000. And then he bought a new build with me. And in addition to it, his Brian's brother-in-law listed and bought a house with me. And then Doug, they purchased a house with me for $565,000. They sold their rental, and then they also sent me a referral, a couple of referrals actually. So as you can see, one open house generated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 transactions. 11 transactions. One open house. Was not my listing, were not my signs. And this is, by the way, not the only story. I had 2 other stories that are similar to this one, including a for sale by owner that back in 2013, Chuck and Pixie Zagarigo, I sold their for sale by owner property. And since then, they referred me to their friends, to their family members, and I think we're like 14, 15 transactions from one client alone. So open houses definitely work. Now this situation is a little bit different, but the beautiful thing about open houses, guys, is that you never know. You never know who you will come across. You never know. Every open house for me was an opportunity to get one solid buyer or a seller in my pipeline. Every open house. That's an opportunity that you cannot really get anywhere else. Okay, and it's essentially for free. You're not really spending that much money on it. You're only spending your time, your sweat equity. Okay, so let's start on how to pick the right open house. Okay, so when the market was not as crazy as it is right now, we had more options in choosing our open houses. Things kind of have changed in the last couple of months, right? In fact, I mean, last month we had a record month, I think, here in Maricopa County. There were about $4 billion in sales volume last month. I believe the average sold price increased to $393,000. That was a record as well. There were 10,540 homes sold last month in Maricopa County. That was a record as well. And the average price per square foot increased to $190.61, I believe, or 87 cents. That was a record as well. The last record was, I think, 2006. So we surpassed 2006 numbers. So the market is definitely on fire. And what we got to do is, at this point, is if we have an opportunity for the open house, we got to take it right away as soon as possible. We cannot wait. If you have a listing, try to do an open house right away. I prefer working vacant homes versus owner-occupied homes when I'm doing traditional open houses. It gives me more flexibility. It gives me an opportunity to lock up the open house if I have to and show another house or two in that subdivision. That allows me to A, bring value to the potential buyer or a seller, and B, continue to build that relationship and that rapport with them. Also, what's important to me when it comes to the open houses is the price point. Okay, ideally, I would like to be in a price point that is over $400,000. That's the type of a buyer that I want to attract. The reason being is it's a higher commission. Most of the buyers are going to be conventional or VA or cash. And also the fact that, there are going to be more inventory out there. There are more options out there in a $450,000, $500,000, $600,000 range versus in $250,000 or $300,000 or $350,000. Okay. Also, another thing that I look at is immediate access. Ideally, I want it to be not gated. Ideally, I don't want to have a security. there, and no more than 4 to 5 turns. We had a listing up in Cave Creek, and about half a mile to that listing, there was a dirt road. Even though we put out 45 signs, only like 1 person showed up. So accessibility is very, very important when it comes to open houses. Signage is critical. I believe you got to put out at least 20 to 30 signs when it comes to your open houses. The more signs, the merrier. I teach my agents that you got to put out signs. Even, for example, there's only 1 or 2 turns, put out as many signs as possible. Again, signs, it's a great branding opportunity, great exposure opportunity for you, and as also for your business. Curb appeal is another very important thing to look at. You don't want to be selecting open houses that have a poor curb appeal, dead shrubs or greenery, for example, or beat up doors, or it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look nice. What happens typically, people just pull up, they see the outside, and they just don't want to even go inside. Look for the houses that have updates inside. The reason for that is because it will allow people to stay more and tour the house versus go inside, see that it smells like cigarettes and 25-year-old carpets, and walk away. Search for the right house, ideally on Sunday or Monday. If you're going to be doing open houses on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, do your homework. Make sure you're prepared when it comes to selecting your open house. And then here's another thing, develop relationships with the agents who list homes but do not hold open houses. In fact, we have several agents here in the company, including me. We also have another agent who lists homes, 4 or 5 homes a month. She doesn't hold open houses. She's too busy to focus on her clients. So every week she sends out a list of all the open houses that she wants the agents to hold for her. So develop relationships, reach out to the agents in your brokerage, the ones that are maybe specializing in getting more listings and not holding open houses, and see if you can get 1 or 2 open houses that way as well. Okay, another very important thing to remember, guys, is the fact that you gotta make sure that you prepare for your open houses. This is a must. A lot of times from my experience, okay, just working with the agents kind of like at the last minute, if nothing is happening in their business, they're like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna hold an open house. And they don't do their homework. They don't do the homework when it comes to the actual house, especially if it's not their listing. They don't do that much homework when it comes to the neighborhood, when it comes to the amenities, with the upgrades, what it was done to the house. And all of those things are very important. The more information you have, the more confident you're gonna look and feel when it comes to talking to the potential buyers and sellers. The more information you have, the better it is for you. Okay, you got to know as much as possible when it comes to the house, especially if it's not your listing. If it's your listing, you got to know everything about the house, honestly. Whatever the seller is telling you, you got to be able to memorize it. But if it's not your listing, talk to the listing agent, preview the listing yourself, either virtually or ideally physically. Do your homework when it comes to the neighborhood. Find out more about the HOA information. Find out about the amenities, the proximities to the freeways, to the shopping, to the schools, all of the upgrades that were done to the house. The more knowledge you have, okay, the more impressive you're gonna look when it comes to the potential buyers and the sellers, okay? When it comes to the vacant homes, important. What I did is, if let's say there are about 4 or 5 other homes in the neighborhood that are active, I would highlight the ones that are vacant. So if I do have somebody who is not interested in my open house, in my property, for example, but is interested in looking at a couple other homes in the community, I can always use showing time and get typically automatic access or approval and go and show them those houses right there. So make sure you have that ready in place versus going on MLS and trying to figure out which homes are currently available and which ones are vacant. Another cool thing about it is, and this is great for the neighbors in the neighborhood, is you're going to have one or two neighbors that are going to be asking you like, hey, you know, I feel like this house is overpriced, or they're going to start quizzing you like, how much, you know, is it per square foot, or, you know, what is, you know, the average days on the market, or what is the highest sold comp or price in the neighborhood in the last 3 or 4 months. So what you got to do is you got to do your job of preparing yourself to have that conversation with the neighbor or with a buyer or potential seller. So make sure you have the comps for all the UCB properties, pendings, closed transactions in the past 6 months, the ones that are temporarily off the market, as well as expired and canceled listings. Okay, you can either save it as a PDF or you can just print it out, have it handy. So this way you can ideally memorize it. And basically what you want to do is you want to memorize like the average sold price per square foot, and then also the days on the market. Okay. The next thing that you want to do is, especially if you're going to be putting out a lot of signs, if you're going to be putting out 20, 25, 30, 40 signs, okay, what you want to do is you want to map out, print a map out where you're going to put the place, where you're going to be putting the signs in the neighborhood. Okay, it's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to prepare you in advance versus kind of doing it haphazardly when you're already there and trying to figure out where to put those signs. Okay, another tip, guys, if you're going to be putting a sign on somebody else's private property, make sure you get authorization. It's actually a great opportunity for you. Knock on their door, introduce yourself, okay, and then offer them your business card and ask them if it's okay for you to, you know, to place a sign on their property. Another thing that I want to share with you guys, and you probably know this, but do not put the signs on the sidewalk. That's a hazard and a potential liability. Okay. Okay. Any questions about this particular slide, guys? Nope.
I think there is a question in the chat room for you.
Let me see. Chat. Oh, okay. Zachary looks like you. That's our old from you. He's actually a lighter version of me. You're right. And then Hector, hypothetical question. What if you have a prospect and who wants to go look at one of the other vacant homes, but you're getting a ton of traffic in your open house in that moment? Do you schedule with them as soon as the traffic dies down? Yes, that's exactly what you do. If you're getting tons of traffic, you just schedule it, you know, when either the traffic dies down or ideally after you're done with the open house. After you're done with an open house. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the differences between neighborhood exclusive open house and traditional open house. Who's here familiar with neighborhood exclusive open houses? All right. Let me talk to you about neighborhood exclusive open house. So I started doing them about 3.5, 4 years ago when it comes to my farm. So I farm Arrowhead Lakes as well as Arrowhead Ranch. And what I do is, you know, I invite neighbors to the open house. I'm not inviting anybody outside of the community, right? I will send an email to my database, but most of them are not going to show up. This is primarily for the neighbors in that particular subdivision or the community, okay? We're inviting them on Thursday. We're doing it from 4 to 7 p.m. We do a beautiful spread, cold cuts, alcoholic beverages, lots of marketing materials. I usually will have some help with me as well. And typically what we get is anywhere between 20 to 30 individuals, walk-ins, that will show up at the open house. Most of them gonna linger around or stay because there's some food, there's some beverages out there. They'll have conversations with me, with my agents, with my loan officer, right? And from those conversations, we usually get anywhere between 5 to 10 seller leads. Now, these people are thinking of possibly selling, maybe not right now, but 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months down the road. But they gave you their information, they give you their address, They give you their plans, their goals, maybe their challenges, everything that you need to put them in your CRM. And I hope you all have a CRM, okay? And start communicating and start nurturing them for the next year or two, okay? And this is one of the best ways of generating seller leads in that specific neighborhood. If you have an idea on the neighborhood that you guys want to farm, that's one of the key things that I would be doing if I were you when you pick up a listing, is do a neighborhood open house. Okay, so here's how it helps you. Not only are you generating all these seller leads, but you're also, number one, showcasing your listing to your neighbors. Like, you're letting the neighbors know that, hey, I'm doing things differently. I'm doing things more, exposing the listing to as many people as possible, right? You showcasing the listing, you showcasing you're showcasing your brand, your team, and then all of your marketing efforts. This is ideal for a newer listing, right? Or the listing that is coming soon to the market. That is not an MLS. Now, this part right here, right now, unfortunately, oh, great. Okay, the coming soon part of it is something that we got to take into the consideration now because of the new armless MLS guidelines. So it's got to be a new listing, ideally. The one just hit the market. Ideally, you want a listing that has some upgrades into it, but it's not a must. A sign placement, open house signs got to be inside of your neighborhood. Food and beverage is the key component to draw traffic, and not only draw traffic, but also have them kind of linger around, stay around, have a conversation with you. You got to have a nice setup inside and out. I'll show you the pictures how we do it. Most likely, you will need help. You will need at least one or two people that will help you, because you're going to get a lot of traffic. You're going to get a lot of people. So if you have a team, great. Have a couple of associates of yours with you as well. If you don't have a team, partner up with your LO, partner up with your title rep, maybe partner up with another agent in your brokerage, but you will need some help there. And then the ideal time for me is Thursday, Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. We tried before Fridays, and Fridays were just not really that eventful. We didn't really get that much traffic on Fridays. Mondays and Tuesdays are hard. Wednesdays are kind of like the middle of the week. So Thursdays for us were the best productive day, if you will, and we get a lot of traffic. And it's only 3 hours from 4 to 7 p.m. Any questions about the slide, guys? Okay, so here's the setup that we put together for our neighborhood exclusive open houses. Okay, as you can see on your left side, this is the cold cut splatter that we get is from AJ's. It's like maybe $120. Again, your LO can contribute half of it or all of it. We get 4, maybe 5 bottles of wine. Again, no more than $50 or $60 for these 4 or 5 bottles. Little bottles of water, some crackers, some utensils, and really nicely done. Again, your out-of-pocket expense, if you're not using a title company or a mortgage company, probably is going to be at around $200. If you are using them, but it's going to be significantly lower. What we also do is we do a red carpet rollout right here, guys. And then welcome to the open house in white sign, roll-up sign. So that's the setup outside as well as inside. And the cool thing about it, like we did an open house, neighborhood exclusive open house, like about 2 years ago in Arrowhead Ranch. And just to kind of give you an idea, like this is, we got from one open house, we got 1, 2, 3, we got 3 additional listings from one open house. like within the same month. The same month. Let me see if this thing works.
So this is what we call the neighborhood domination.
So we held an open house here. We got the neighbor to sign. We have this neighbor sign. And then across the street, there was another listing that we got. All of them from the open houses. Right there. So four listings, not only in the same neighborhood, but on the same street. In fact, we had a couple of neighbors that called us directly into our office and were just wondering what's going on, if there's something that we knew that they didn't know about the neighborhood, why everybody's selling on the same block. But all of these listings originated from one open house that we held at this beautiful house listing in Arrowhead Ranch. Okay, so how do we get traffic now to your neighborhood exclusive open houses? Okay, so for us, it all starts about a week to 2 weeks prior to the neighborhood exclusive open house. First step we take is the professional pictures. We order marketing collateral right away. I'll share with you the details in the next slide. We record a video invite. You can do it in front of the house. You can do it inside of the house. You can do it with selfie. You can do it professionally. It's completely up to you. What we then do is we post invites and house pics on Facebook. We boost that. We use Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube for that as well. We email our database, inviting them to the open house. Again, most of your clients most likely not going to show up, but it gives them, it gives you an opportunity to, again, promote and market yourself, to let them know that you're doing these neighborhood exclusive open houses. And also you're inviting them for wine and cheese. It's just another way of bringing value. We also drop off open house invitations on Monday, the week of the open house. We used to mail them. Right now, we just drop them off. We use a flyer service company that charges us 20 cents per door to do so. So we just drop it off at around 300 or 400 homes in the neighborhood. It doesn't cost us that much at all. What we also do is we call the neighbors in that neighborhood from our database and also from Mojo List, and just invite them to the open house, personally invite them to the open house. If they don't answer, we drop a voice message in their mailboxes. We do that as well. And then what we do the day of the open house, we door knock about 40 or 50 homes right in next proximity, like radius, if you will, to the subject property. And we, again, personally invite all of the neighbors to the house. We put out 20 to 40 open house signs inside of the neighborhood. We don't put any signs outside of the neighborhood. We do not ideally want the outside traffic coming in. We only want to be focusing on the neighbors. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions about this slide? Okay, so Hector's asking, are you still doing the plate of food when everyone wearing a mask right now? Yes, you just take the precautions. You use, obviously, you use gloves, you use a mask. If they come in with gloves and masks, that's fine. Again, we have the utensils there that they can use. They're not going to be using their hands to grab food. But it's, some people will do it and some people will not. I mean, it's just, that's the life that we live in right now. We did an open house, exclusive neighborhood open house about a month ago in Arrowhead Range. And out of about 15 or 16 people that came in, I would say about 1/3 of them ate food, drink wine, and the other ones were not. Well, that's a good question. How long are you pre-marketing before entering into the MLS? So before this MLS rule, if you will, we used to do it a week or two before, but now what we do is we put the house on the market and then we start marketing efforts then. And that's the question from April Marine. Any other questions, guys? Nope. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the marketing collateral that we use, not only for our neighborhood exclusive open houses, guys, but also for our traditional open houses that we hold. A lot of the stuff, by the way, can be provided by a title company and an escrow company, as well as your mortgage company. We do open house invitations, seller guide and checklist, and buyer guide and checklist. We have those that we always have it available for open houses. Feedback sheets, we're going to talk about them in more detail in the later slides. Very important. Quality property flyers with pics and selling features. That's something that we leave when we get a listing, right? With, you know, not only for the homeowners, but also for the buyers that come in and view the property. Your business cards. We have a client testimonials booklet with all of our client testimonials. We have our swag, company swag, our t-shirts, our polo shirts, our hats that we give away as well. Welcome pull-up banner, I already showed you that. We ordered that from Vistaprint. And then for our neighborhood exclusive open houses, we will do a red carpet rollout, balloons, flags, as well as signs. So all of that is part of the marketing package when we're holding open houses. Again, a lot of this stuff, guys, you can get, you know, partner up with your title and escrow company, with your mortgage company. You can do that, you know, and some of the stuff you can order from Vistaprint. If you're on our team, you get all of that stuff. That's already included. And here's the kind of like a sample of what we have as far as the display for neighborhood exclusive open houses and also traditional open houses. We have a welcome banner, again, business cards, buyer's checklist, home buyer's guide, our client testimonials, our VIP seller program, you know, information about the property, and then we have the feedback sheets right there on the clipboards available. So it's a really nice setup. You know, a buyer will always leave with something of a value, something that is tangible, something that they can look at, review it, and hopefully give you a call. All right. Okay, so now let's say, for instance, you have open house in place, you got it going, you have visitors that are coming in. You definitely want to make sure that you have the right messaging, you have the right scripts, you have the right objection handlers in place to make sure that you're going to be able to convert some of these leads into prospects and then ultimately into your clients. We have different scripts that we share with our agents in a company. We have a script for open houses, script for sell by owners, expired listings, circle prospecting, pre-foreclosures, LP Mama, and more than happy to share them with you as well, with the agents outside of our brokerage. But the beautiful thing about the scripts is that, you know, it really kind of helps you to guide the conversation in a way where you really want to see the outcome to be. A lot of times we have a conversation with somebody, but at the end of the conversation, we're kind of like asking ourselves, like, did I really get anything that I really wanted to ask them, right? And what scripts will allow you to do is it will kind of give you an almost kind of virtual an outline of questions that you want to ask them during your conversation, during your meeting. Okay, so the differences you're going to be able to find is you're going to have individuals that will tell you objection. They're also going to give you a condition. The biggest difference between an objection and condition is the fact that an objection, typically, from my experience at least, is a trust gap between you and the prospect, and it needs to be satisfied before they commit to you. An objection can be something along the lines of, hey, I'm just looking, right? Or I'm just browsing. Or, hey, you know, like for example, objection could be I have a realtor, right? That can be that objection, or I'm not ready to sell right now, or I'm not ready to buy right now. That may be an objection, right? And then condition is something that you or your prospect or your client cannot control or change at this point. It can be the fact that maybe their credit situation needs a lot of work and they really want to buy, but they cannot qualify. Maybe they just lost a job. Maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Something along the lines where you at this point don't have really a solution for them, or do not have a control of what just transpired. So you as an agent, you have to take that into account when you're talking to the prospects. Is it really an objection or is it really a condition? Okay. So here's some of the examples of most common objections that you hear when you're holding open houses. Hey, I'm just looking. I have an agent. I'm not ready to list. I'm not ready to buy. Examples of most common conditions will be health, financial, retirement, divorce. Okay, so that's kind of like you have to kind of take into the consideration when you're having those conversations. Now, when you're hearing questions like "I'm just looking," okay, or "I have an agent," how do we respond to someone that is just looking? And that's probably something that you're going to get quite a bit when you're greeting and you're meeting people that are walking in your open house. What do you typically say to them? Anyone?
Basically, what you taught us last time was that we still show them the house. We still do the work of showing them the house, because maybe by the end of showing the house and having a conversation with us, they probably will start trusting us and they start opening up about what their needs are.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just act like you know what, your job is to show them a house, right? I know Don, you had a challenge of converting leads at open houses. So how was your experience been so far with open houses? Don? Okay. Anyone else? Any other challenges that you guys are experiencing when you're holding open houses? When somebody's giving you a certain objection that you don't know how to overcome or how to handle?
If you run into someone that's just looking, you can interpret that as I'm not really sure what I'm looking for, to try to help them drill into what's of interest.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, look, just looking it's like, when you guys go to the store, right? And like, for instance, like when I pre-COVID situation, when I used to go shopping for clothes, right? I would, I live in Northwest Valley, and I would used to drive all the way to either Fashion Square Mall in Scottsdale or Biltmore, right? And for me, it's about 30, 40, 45-minute drive, depending on the traffic, right? And I would get ready, I'd go to the mall, I'd park my car, I'd go inside, and the first thing that I would hear from a sales rep would be, can I help you? And my response would be, yeah, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing. How many of you have been in that situation before? Like when you go into the store, you want to buy something, but you're still kind of letting them know that you're just looking. That's your automatic response. It's almost kind of, we have a little recording mechanism in the back of our head that really kind of prompts us to say every time, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing, right? Even though we're there for a reason. It's the same thing with open houses. You're going to have people that are going to walk into your open house and they're going to say, I'm just looking, even though it's 110 degrees outside, right? And there are no inventory out there to speak of, but they're just looking, really? So what I do is I just act like, you know what, it's my job to show them the house. I'm there for a reason. This is my open house. Okay, I prepare for that open house. I know everything about that house. Okay, I'm gonna spend 4 or 5 hours in that house. I just spent half an hour, 45 minutes putting out the signs in 115-degree weather. So I gotta do my job right now to showcase that listing, that open house to this prospective buyer. Okay, so what I do is I do not change my demeanor. I do not lose a beat. I just say, hey, you know what? Great. I work with a lot of buyers that are just looking. Let me show you around. And you just go after it. You just go after it. Okay. And then when they say, I'm just looking, it's like, oh, that's great. Once you start touring the house with them, well, how long you guys been looking? How long you guys been looking? Well, we've been looking for about 3 months. Okay, all right. And are you specifically looking in this neighborhood, in this community, or in this subdivision, or are you like open to maybe other areas around town? No. We really want to be focusing on this area, this neighborhood. Oh, okay. If you don't mind me asking you, what do you guys like about this neighborhood? Well, Johnny, my son, he's going to the 5th grade and he wants to be, we want him to be in this school district or in this particular school. Okay, that's great. So Johnny is going to 5th grade. Awesome. That's great. And ideally, how soon do you want to be in this neighborhood? Well, before the school year starts. So let's say, for example, we're in July, they want to be in August, or we're in September. Now we're talking about maybe in the beginning of next year. So the school year starts. So that means like about 5 months from now then. Well, yeah, about 5 months, but if we find something that we like now, we're going to act on it. We're going to buy it now. So now you got their motivation, why they want to move to the neighborhood. You got their time frame, right? And instead of just looking, now you're developing a conversation with them, a meaningful conversation, by you asking them these questions. Now you're kind of forming a picture of what they're really thinking, what their plans are, what their goals are, and what their challenges they're experiencing. So then you follow up by saying, so you guys been looking for a couple of months. Have you find anything that you liked? No, not really. Do you have anybody who's been helping you with this? Like a real estate agent? Well, we are getting some property alerts from an agent. I'm not sure if he lives in the neighborhood, but no, we're not really, we're just going there from open house to open house and looking at the properties that way. Okay, great. So you're not committed to that agent? No, not really. No. Well, you haven't signed anything with that agent, right? No, we haven't signed anything. Okay. All right. Awesome. And where you guys live right now? Well, we live in Phoenix. Okay. Do you currently rent? Do you buy? Do you own? We own a house. Oh, okay. Do you prefer to sell that before you buy? Yeah, we're kind of thinking about it. We're thinking of selling and then buying. So now not only you have a potential buyer opportunity, you also have a potential listing opportunity. So all of these questions that I shared with you guys, they're in the script. And the beautiful thing about the script, it's a guide, it's an outline. Where people make mistakes when it comes to the scripts is like, they don't memorize them, they don't internalize them, they don't make them their own. So they sound too robotic, they sound too scripted. But if you learn these scripts, if you memorize them, you internalize them, now it's just, a matter of having conversation with them like I'm having it right now. With that script, you were able to find out their motivation, you were able to find out their time frame, you will find out whether they have an agent or not. You're also able to find out if they're just a buyer or a buyer and a seller. And that literally took, a minute or two of the conversation with them. All right. Any questions about the objections, guys? Do you have any questions? No? I mean, same thing, for instance, when you're going to have like a bunch of people, they're going to tell you, I have an agent, I'm working with an agent. And here's what some agents do when they hear that. They're like, oh, okay, all right, well, let me know if you have any questions. No, you say, hey, you know what? I completely understand there are 40,000 agents out there. What's the name of your agent? Maybe I know him. And guess what? More than half of them would not even tell you their name. They're like, John Wall, because they don't have an agent. But say, no worries, no big deal. We all friends, you know, let me show you around. And just show them the house and develop a rapport with them. You know, again, you guys prepared for this, right? You practice, you've done your homework, you spoke to the listing agent, you ran the comps, you put out signs, you made it all nice and pretty inside. This is your time right now to shine. This is your time right now. It's game time. It's game time. And not every single person that's going to walk into your open house is going to say, oh, yeah, I'm ready to buy. No, in fact, most of them are not going to be like that. But it's your job. It's your job to dig deeper and really find out what's going on with them. Like another thing, I'm not ready to buy now. That's another thing you're going to get. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to sell. Okay, all right. If I may ask, when do you think you're going to be ready? Well, maybe 6 months from now. Okay, listen, I appreciate that. If you don't mind sharing with me, and just out of curiosity, what has to happen between now and 6 months from now in order for you guys to be ready? And please be honest with me. So this way I don't keep bugging you. Well, we need to X, we need to Y, we need to do this, we need to save some money on a down payment. My husband is in the process of retiring, or we have to sell our house, or we need to save more money for a down payment, or we need to improve our credit situation. Whatever the reason is, now you have a core motivation or core reason why they're not moving forward right now. That question, by the way, is going to make you a lot of money. It's going to make you a lot of money, not only with open house leads, but any other potential buyer and the seller opportunity that you come across with. When they tell you something along the lines that I'm not ready, I'm 6 months out, I'm a year out, I'm 2 years out, your question to them is like, hey, I completely understand. I appreciate that. But if I may ask, what has to happen between now and a year from now in order for you guys to be ready to buy or sell? Yes, Jackie. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay, I see that. So, I mean, I just love the way that you were helping us try and figure this out. But I'm an old agent, old agent. So I used to believe that the open houses just weren't worth it. I would go to the open houses. I really didn't put my efforts into them. But I've come to the point where this is my job. So a lot of us agents, we forget that this is why we wake up in the morning. This is what we do all day and night. Real estate. That's what we know. So when a person comes into our open house, I used to just go, oh, would you like to see the house? And, you know, I forgot that this is my job. So now I'm on the part of my life where I'm just, everybody's got to sign in. You got to give me your email address. You got to give me your phone number so I can help you understand what it is you're looking to do here. And so those are my new goals when I go into one. Casually, I'm not saying that I'm going to say, do this, do that, do that. It's all going to be a conversation, but my goals are just definitely to help them understand where they sit in the market.
You hit the nail on the head. You're spot on. Our job is fourfold, right? Five, but we get paid in our business to A, talk to people about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
B, go out there and show homes, right? Go out there, get listings. C, negotiate contracts, right? And then D, number 4, rinse and repeat, ask for referrals, get referrals. That's our job.
That's our job.
And open houses, again, is probably one of the best ways still, even during COVID situation, one of the best ways to get in front of potential buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
Period. Period. And if you're one of those agents, and I tell this to my agents all the time, by the way, and you probably heard me to say this, if you do not have any showings this week, if you do not have any listings this week, and if you are current on your database with your follow-ups, with your sphere and everything like that, hold open houses.
Yep.
Hold open houses. Think about it. You get one solid buyer or a seller a week. And I'm not talking about 5. I'm not talking about 6. I'm talking about just 1 a week. A week.
Weekend.
4 of them a month. 4 of them a month. Do you think you're going to be able to close at least 1? Maybe possibly.
At least.
Right? With the average commission check right now is a little bit over $10,000. 1 closing, that's $10,000 a month. 2 closings, that's $20,000 a month. And we're talking about doing 3 open houses a week, on average about 4 to 5 hours long. That's about 15, 16 hours a week. 15, 16 hours a week, multiplied by 4 weeks, we're looking at around 60 hours. You make $10,000. $10,000, and we're going to divide that. Divided by 60 hours, you're getting paid $166 an hour.
That's funny.
And that's 1 closing. You close 2 deals from open houses. Now you're getting paid $340, $330 an hour.
Where do I apply, you said?
But that's how we got to look at it, guys. Like half of my business in 2013 and 2014 came from open houses. If I did not have any showings, if I did not have any listing appointments, I would be parking for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day at my open house. I would get in at around 9 a.m. and leave at around 5 or 6 p.m. But guess what? I would get 1, 2, maybe 3 really good leads out of it. What else do I need to do? What else do I have to do? This is my career. This is my job. This is my business. Okay? But Jack, you're absolutely right on that. All right. So let's say when you get these people, right? You're getting individuals that come to your open house, okay? So how do we make sure that we actually capture their information? Okay? What I use and what my agents use are feedback sheets. We do not use registration sheets. The problem with the registration sheets is the fact that it just becomes too intrusive. You're almost kind of creating that you must sign in or you must sign up before you build any type of rapport, right? You're asking for their information up front. I even had a couple of open houses that I attended, other agents were holding them, where at the front door outside, there was a note that says a seller requesting or requiring everybody to sign in. I mean, how's that really going to help you with building a rapport? It's not. So instead of registration sheets, what we have are feedback sheets. Okay, and what we do is with the feedback sheets, there are a couple of ways we can go about it. And this is right here, a copy of the feedback sheet that we have available. We can send you a copy of it as well if you would like. Very simple. They're not that big. You put them in your clipboard, okay? And this is what we do right here. They're gonna fill out their information, their first name, their last name, okay? And then they will rate the house. Curb appeal, first impression of the interior, backyard, and then the price. Why is this happening to me? I don't know. So here's the way we do with the way we approach the conversation with the feedback sheets, okay? So when they walk in, the first question that I ask, and this is the question that you got to ask every time somebody walks into your open house, okay, is, hey, do you guys, welcome to the open house, you get their information, what is their name, Mark and let's say Cindy, do you guys live in a neighborhood or are you shopping for your next home? So that's the first question to ask outside of their first and last name. Hey, do you guys live in the neighborhood or are you shopping for your next home? That's a very important question. Because if they're shopping for the next home, that means they don't live in that neighborhood and that means they're a buyer. Now you got to use a different script. Oh, how long you guys been shopping? How long you guys been looking? Have you been looking specifically in this neighborhood? Are you open to other neighborhoods? Right? That's the script. If they live in a neighborhood, now they may be potentially who? A seller. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Where do you guys live? Well, we live about a block down the street. Oh, that's great. How long you guys been living in the street? Well, we've been here for 20 years. We built a house. Oh, that's awesome. What do you like about your house? What do you like about this neighborhood? You start developing a report that way, asking questions. But that's one of the first questions, one of the key questions to ask. Hey, do you guys live in a neighborhood or you happen to shop for your next home? Okay. So once they tell you what they're, whether they live in a neighborhood or shopping, let's say, for example, they're looking for, to buy a house, they don't live in a neighborhood. Okay. Well, let me show you around. You go through your progression of questions, again, using your mental script that you have, okay? And when you feel like they're in position right now where their guard is down, where they're more responsive to your questions, when they're much more talkative, right? They're answering your questions, they're smiling, right? When you feel like you're already kind of building their rapport, that's when you ask them to fill out the feedback sheet. So you're actually, when you're touring the house, you have the feedback sheet with you on a clipboard. After you got their name, you're carrying with you all this time. So during the tour or at the end of the tour, when you feel like you can ask them for a favor, you just ask them a favor. Hey guys, can you do me a huge favor? The seller is motivated to sell. And they're very interested in knowing what the buyers think about the condition of the house. If it's not too much to ask, can you please share your feedback on the sheet? Here's what's going to happen. When you ask somebody for a favor, especially asking them for their view or their feedback or their insight or their opinion or their suggestion about the house, what do you think they're going to do? Most of them are going to say what? Oh, yes, of course, absolutely, sure, yeah, no problem. So now what they're doing is they're filling out this information right here. Half of them are going to fill out this information right here automatically. You already have their names. Remember, you asked for their name when they just walked in? You ask for their name. You already wrote their name. Okay? Now this is an opportunity for you to say, hey, you know what, guys? I know you're specifically looking in this neighborhood and you know the market is super hot right now. We do quite a bit of business in this neighborhood. Our brokerage or our team does a lot of business in this neighborhood. And we come across potential sellers that are thinking of selling their home, but it's not currently on MLS. And when we come across those particular properties, we share that with the list of clients that we have in our database. Is that something that you would be interested in as well? In getting a hold of coming soon listings before they hit MLS? Is that something you would be open to? Yeah, sure, absolutely. You would be open to it. Great. What's a good phone number for you? I'll text you that list. And also, what's a good email address for you? I can email that list to you as well. You see? So we work the neighborhood. We may come across a listing that would be a good fit for you guys. Before it hits the market, we want to share that with you. Would that be good? Would that be okay? Would that be beneficial? Is that something that you would be open to? Absolutely. Great. What's a good email address for you? What's a good phone number for you? So we drive, we lead with value. We lead with value. Hey, we may have something for you in this neighborhood. In exchange, can I have your phone number? Can I have your email address? Oh, by the way, you said you guys live in Phoenix, right? Oh yeah, and do you currently rent or do you own? If they rent, I mean, you can still get their address and send them a thank you note. If they own, it's very important for you to get their address. So now there's a possibility of getting a listing. So this is right here. If you apply it correctly and you do this consistently, because every time you're going to do this, the better you're going to get, the more confidence you're going to have, the more opportunities you will have. If you're going to get this, if you use the right approach, the one that I just shared with you right now, guys, you will have about 80 to 90% of people that walked into your open house, they will fill out this information. Okay. Any questions, guys? Fire away. Okay. All right. So let's say you got their information on the feedback sheet. You got their information on the feedback sheet. What's next? This is very critical, by the way. This is where I think a lot of agents come short. Okay. For some reason, when they get 4 or 5 of these, they instead of taking action right there on the spot, they're thinking, oh, you know what? I got 4 or 5 great conversations. I got their information. I was able to make a connection with them. I'm going to wait until tomorrow to contact them. Or I'm going to wait until Monday to contact them, follow up with them. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake. What you got to do is this. These are the steps. These are the steps. First and foremost, what you want to do is you want to add that lead into your database. If you don't have a database, put them on MLS. Put them on MLS, create a search for them, start sending them properties. If you have a database, we use Sync, we use KV Core, just put them in there and start generating properties that way. So the first thing that you do, ideally while you're still at the open house, but let's say you're very busy, you got a lot of people coming in, this and that. When you're done with your open house, when you get home, you add all of these people into your database. You send them properties right away. You send them properties right away. You can text them those properties. You can email them properties right there on the spot. Hey, John, Sandy, it was great meeting you, right? Here's a couple of properties that I have in mind for you that may be a good fit for what you guys are looking for. Let me know what you guys think. Simple email, simple text. Then what you want to do is very, very, very important. That's a very important step is you record a quick 10 or 15-second video thanking them for stopping by at your open house. Hey, John and Cindy, it was a pleasure meeting you today and your family at my open house, 1234 East Main Street. I enjoyed getting to know you guys. I enjoyed learning more about your plans and your goals. And I am looking forward in helping you with your real estate needs and earning your business. Oh, by the way, I just emailed you a list of a couple of properties that I have in mind for you. Hopefully they're a good fit. Please take a look at them and let me know if you want to schedule time to see them, maybe tomorrow or this weekend. Bye, Alan. 10, 15-second video. You text them that video. The reason we do the video is, number one, it's much more personable than a text or an email. Number two, here's what happens. You're not the only open house that they most likely stop by. You're not the only agent that they had a conversation with. So if they stop by at 3 open houses and I had conversations with 3 agents, do you really truly believe at the end of the day or the next day they'll actually remember you? They don't. And when you just send them an email, it's static. It's just email with the text, maybe your picture on the bottom in the signature section, but that's it. When you send them a video, it's much more personable, right? It also shows that you actually took a step forward, an extra step of recording that video. Not everybody does that. So text them the video. And then what you want to do is, again, this is something that you want to do that day, is you want to call them a half an hour to an hour later, confirming that they received your email with the properties you just sent them, because a lot of times emails end up in the spam box. And then 2, ask for an appointment. Ask for a meeting or schedule the showings. Okay, so these are the steps that you got to take every time when you're holding an open house, every time when you have people that filled out the feedback sheets, completed them, you got to take these steps. This is going to be a game changer for you. If you implement this consistently in your open house business, you will convert these leads at a much, 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 much higher level, period. Okay, any questions? Any questions, guys? No. Okay. The next slide. All right, that's where the follow-up. So money is made in follow-up. So that's another thing I think we all of us, including me, we have to do a better job of making sure that we're following up and following through with our leads. You all have a lot of leads to work with. If not, I mean, my gosh, you know, we have a lot of leads. In the team, we have a lot of leads. We as a brokerage, we generate a lot of leads. But what we got to do is we want to make sure that we have the right follow-up sequence in place to work those leads, nurture those leads, and make sure that those leads are not falling through the cracks. And we classify leads into 3 different categories, into hot leads, nurture leads, as well as watch leads, A, Bs, and Cs. So anything that is ready to sell a house or buy a house in the next 30 days, okay, they're considered to be a hot lead. Any buyer and a seller that is thinking of buying or selling in the next 60 to 90 days, they're considered to be a nurture lead. We tag them in our database, in our CRM. And then a lot of sellers and buyers are going to be 90 days plus, so we categorize them as watch leads. Each type of lead is given different amount of attention. This is important. Each type of a lead is given a different amount of attention. If you have a lead that is 6 months away, are you going to call that lead every week? No. But if you have a lead that is a week or 2 or a month away from buying or selling, I mean, you're going to be calling that lead, you're going to be contacting, reaching out, and meeting those people every single time, right? So very important to make sure that you make that distinction. And with the CRM, it helps you to do so. Okay. The one struggle I think a lot of us are facing as agents being in the sales business is the fact that, you know, we're constantly worried about doing too much follow-up. Too much follow-up. We feel sometimes that, you know what, maybe we are too pushy, or maybe possibly even borderline forceful, or nagging or annoying with our follow-ups. we're asking too much, you know, and all of those things combined, like psychologically, it constantly affects us not to do the follow-up. And I think, to be honest with you, that is further from the truth. In fact, a lot of people will tell you the reason they decided to go with an agent or they decided to go with a product or whatever it is because of the follow-up, consistent flow of follow-up. Most of the leads that I convert, whether they're seller leads or buyer leads or agents that are coming to our brokerage, is follow-up. They're not going to do it from the first day, from the first time you call them. It takes time. It takes a lot of nurturing, okay? And this is something that you got to take into the consideration, guys, because we all have a fear of rejection. We all have a fear of confrontation. We all kind of worry what they're going to say, what they're going to do, if they're going to be nice to us or they're going to cuss at us, whatever it is. What we got to do is we got to really kind of like man up and woman up and make sure that if we're not following up with them, if we're not staying in touch, if they're not hearing from us, if they're not seeing us, somebody else is. Simple. If we're not getting in front of them, if we're not getting their attention, somebody else is doing that. We have over 40,000 agents out there. And you're not the only open house that they stop by at. You're not the only IDX website that they registered on. Like, you know, buyers and sellers getting bombarded from the agents every single day. So we got to stand out. And that usually comes with follow-up. Okay. Okay, so 7 keys to get more out of your follow-up, guys. So this is a schedule that we run here on the company. If you got a hot lead that is ready to do something within 30 days, you definitely want to follow up with that lead no less than every 7 days. If you got somebody who's ready to buy, who's ready to sell, you got to be in front of them as much as possible, as often as possible. If that means every day, then do it. Nurture leads, the ones that are more like close to 60 to 90 days out, you follow up with them every 2 weeks. So how do we do that? Well, we have a CRM. You schedule follow-ups every 2 weeks. It sends you a reminder in your text, in your email, saying, "Hey, follow up with this particular client." And then all the C leads or watch leads that are 90 days plus, that are 6 months plus, that are 12 months plus, you follow up with them once a month. Again, schedule a reminder in the CRM. So this way you don't have to be constantly thinking, who should I call? It will follow up. It will send you the, it will schedule you the follow up and the reminder. Okay. Another thing that works is mailing thank you cards or notes. So especially if you got their address during your open house and you had a great conversation with them, send them a thank you card. Send them a thank you card, include a business card in it. Okay, how many agents are doing that nowadays? How many people are doing this in general nowadays? Most of us are just sending emails. Most of us just texting. How about a thank you card? In fact, every day you should have a goal. Like every day you should send out at least one thank you note to your prospect or to your past client or to your SOI, whatever it is, right? Every single day you got to do that. Video is super important. Leave a video via text or email. We talked about that. And you got to stay consistent. You're going to have situations where buyers are going to ghost you. You're going to have situations where buyers are going to be hot and heavy for the first maybe few days or a week, and then they just get lost for a week or 2 or 3, and then they come back. It happens all the time. Do not let that discourage you. Do not let that to kind of like again, that's where we think like, well, they don't like us or they don't want to work with us. No, something may possibly happen. You never know. They're not only thinking about buying a house for the next year. I mean, there are other things going on, especially with COVID situation, with everything that's going on out there. You know, people get sidetracked. People get discouraged. right? On average, it takes anywhere between 15 to 18 follow-ups to get an appointment sometimes, to get a commitment from a client. So you got to work them. Okay. You also got to have the routine and schedule in place. Like you're all going to be working with a lot of leads. Okay. You got to dedicate time every day or at least 2 or 3 times a week where you spend that time on the follow-up. That's very important. Let your database schedule the reminders. Let your database send them property alerts, right? Emails, texts, but nothing will replace you picking up the phone, calling them, sending them a video, texting them. That's something you got to do. And if you do all of these things, in addition to what we discussed before with open houses, right? 2 to 3 open houses a week, ideally, but start with just 1 to get your feet wet. Follow the steps that I showed with you. Okay, make sure you do a video. Make sure you follow up with them that day. Make sure you have the right follow-up sequence in place. Your business is going to grow. Your business is going to grow. And not only is it going to grow, it's going to explode. Okay, keep in mind, guys, if our job is to get 1 solid buyer or seller a week, that's 4 leads, solid leads a month. If you just close 1 a month, that's 12 deals a year. That's not including your sphere. That's not including online leads. That's not including any other business you guys are getting. 12 closings a year. With the average commission check right now at around $10,000, you're looking at around $120,000 in gross commission income. But the key thing is you got to stay consistent. You cannot just do like, oh, 1 week I'll do it and next 2 weeks I'm not doing. No, I mean, just stay consistent. Speaking of the consistency, I want to share with you the 3 key steps to take your business to the next level and hopefully have an amazing next 12 months to 24 months. Okay, guys? This is something that is part of another class that I teach. But I just want to kind of share some of the items here with you. First and foremost, you gotta have a discipline to start. A lot of times we get a lot of information. We watch a lot of videos, we attend a lot of classes, seminars, right? But then when it comes to actually starting something, something happens, something gets in a way, we get sidetracked. We're going to do it next week. We're going to do it the following week. And we never really truly start. So the first thing that you got to do is you got to have a discipline to start. Start with just 1 open house a week. Not 3, not 4, just 1. Follow these steps. The second thing that you got to do is you got to have the resiliency and patience to continue. And here's what I mean by that. Not every single open house is going to be a successful open house. Not every single open house, you're going to have people in the door. Not every single open house, you're going to have people filling out the registration sheet, the feedback sheet. Not every single open house, you're going to generate a good, solid lead. You're going to have open houses like I used to have open houses where I would not even have 1 person that showed up in an open house. And I spent 6, 7, 8, 9 hours in that open house. If this would be that easy, everybody would do it. But you got to stay patient. You got to stay resilient. You got to stay focused. Okay? And the goal is to give it 90 days. Like hold open houses for the next 90 days. Once a week or twice a week for the next 90 days. Step number 3. Ideally, you want to be a part of the positive environment. You got to surround yourself with an accountability partner or a mentor, or a coach. I mean, I'm sure all of you attended seminars, right? Like Tony Robbins. There are a lot of famous speakers out there, motivational speakers, personal development speakers. And you go into these seminars, and you feel great. You feel like, man, you got so much energy, so much positivity. You want to conquer the world. You know, you have these big plans, big goals now, and then you get home, and then things are kind of start unraveling and kind of die down. And then after about a week or 2 or 3, you're kind of in the same place that you were before the seminar. The biggest reason why it's happening is because when you were there, you were part of this environment, positive environment. You surrounded yourself with the people, like-minded individuals. So it's also very important for us, for you to be part of this positive environment, positive culture, positive mentors, accountability partners. Okay? Reach out, seek out. We're here for you. I'm here for you. This is very, very important because you're going to be having days where you're going to be sidetracked. You're going to have days when you're going to be questioning whether it's working or not. You're going to have days that you're going to be feeling defeated, feeling discouraged, feeling like this is not working, especially when it's 110 degrees outside, 115 degrees outside, especially if you're a new agent and you're trying to get your business off the ground, especially with all the negativity that is coming our way every single minute, every single hour, every single day from outside of our control. It's going to happen. That's why it's so important for you to have somebody that helps you, that really kind of talks to you about this, right? And really kind of gives you a different perspective, a positive perspective. Okay. And then of course, track and measure your numbers. That's important. You know, make sure that you're constantly tracking those numbers of yours. And you're going to start seeing the progress. Any questions, guys? Let me check the chat box. Okay. No questions there. No. Okay. Well, listen, guys, I think that's, oh yeah, one thing I want to share with you guys is something that I offer to my agents inside of the company, but also that's something that I'm going to open up to the agents outside of my company is a free business growth strategy session with me, where we sit down, we talk about the challenges in your business right now, the opportunities that you want to maybe take advantage of. And then the goal is for us to really map out your next 90 days, what exactly you're going to have to do to get your business off the ground or get your business to the next level. If this is something that you're interested in, if you feel like this is something that will benefit your business, you know, you can reach out to me. You can also put your information in a chat box. You know, Anna or I will reach out to you guys and set up a half an hour session. We can do it online via Zoom. We can do it in person in our office. There are no strings attached. I promise you, we're not going to talk about your brokerage, my brokerage. We're just going to talk about your business and how we can really help it to grow it. So let us know if you would be interested in something like that. Otherwise, I appreciate all of you for attending, for your participation, for your questions. And I hope that this was valuable to you. Again, sure you start implementing. Hey guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Alan, for helping us out.
All right, Raul, thank you so much, man, for participating.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Good
Thanks,
information.
Go after it. Thank you, guys. And if you need any help, any questions, you know, feel free to reach out to me, to Anna, to your team leaders. And we're here for you guys.